Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'll be reading r/AskReddit. It's a fun subreddit where anyone can post a question and then anyone can answer. It's a good place for interactions to happen. Hope you guys enjoy the reading. I personally think it's something fun to listen to. Enjoy. r/AskReddit. What is the scariest story you know that is 100% true? The story of Jamie Kloss is terrifying. In rural Wisconsin last year, a 13 through 14-ish year old girl went missing after her parents were murdered in their home. Police arrived within 4 minutes or so, but she's just gone. Of course, speculation is that she was kidnapped, or that she was in on it, or dead, or whatever. Nobody knows because she has completely vanished. 88 days later, in the dead of northern Wisconsin winter, she runs out in the street to a woman walking her dog. She has been held captive for about 40 minutes from her home. All of that is scary enough, but here's the terrifying part. She had never had any contact with the guy that murdered her family and abducted her. One day he was driving to a new job, at which he only lasted a few days, and saw her get on the school bus. At that moment, he decided that he was going to take her. There was no warning, no grooming, there was absolutely nothing that she or her family could have done to avoid everything. A creepy young man saw her from 100 feet away and decided that he would murder her family and take her for himself. I lived alone with my dogs in a brownstone in a gated community in uptown Dallas. I worked a few miles away, but came home every day for lunch to let my dogs out. After living there for about a year, I started smelling cologne really strong in my entryway and up my stairs. I figured it was my neighbor next door, and I didn't think anything of it. Then one day, I found a dollar bill folded lengthwise on top of my purse. I never carry cash, nor have I ever folded a dollar bill lengthwise. Though it was weird, a few weeks later, I came home and both my dogs were standing in front of my bedroom door, wagging their tails and staring at the door. I figured they wanted to lay on my bed, but I was in a hurry and walked them real fast and went back to work. When I came home that day, there were 20 or so dollar bills folded lengthwise and placed neatly around various surfaces in my room. Never in my life have I ever been so terrified. I grabbed my dogs and noped the fuck out of that place as fast as I could. I called the cops. They came out, my locks were changed, but I could never be alone again. I moved a month later or so. When I moved, I found dollar bills taped to the back of pictures on my walls, under furniture, and random places. I never figured out who, or why, or even how. I think the scariest thing of all of this is knowing that one day when I was home, whoever has been going into my house was waiting quietly in my room, folding dollar bills, and my little dogs knew it. I was probably 11 or 12. There was a telephone pole in our backyard that stood in the middle of our back fence. An electrician was working on it and needed access to our backyard for a couple days. One of the nights, my best friend was over for a sleepover, and we were in the fort we made in my room. I was facing towards her, away from my bedroom door, and she gets startled and lets out kind of a half-hearted scream/yelp. She said that she thought for a split second she saw a man's face peering between the sheets through the entrance of our fort. We both felt really creeped out for the rest of the night, but just fell asleep eventually. The next day or so, my family realized that 2 of our motor scooters we kept in the back were missing. And sometime later, my dad recognized the electrician on Sacramento's Top 10 Wanted. I'm pretty sure that night was the night he stole the scooters, and he must have come inside the house, through the back door, and left or something when he realized we were awake. I was walking in the woods once and I saw a blue tent, or what had once been a tent. It was torn to shreds and the poles were snapped, and it was all in a messy pile in the middle of a clearing. From a distance, it had looked like a clearing were full of cream-colored flowers, but as I got closer, I realized there were pieces of paper, pages from Stephen King's The Shining to be precise. They were charred around the outside as though someone had set light to them, and the fact that they were individuals made it look like someone had really wanted to destroy the book. I shrugged it off. It was a very neat setup for whatever project the film students from the nearby school would be making, I told myself. Very well done, guys. Very creepy. It made the news shortly afterwards that a man from the next town over who had been missing for a long time had finally turned up. Dead. In his blue tent in the woods. I don't know if he was still in there when I walked past. I don't want to know. When I was about 13, I was an adventurer explorer wannabe. I used to pack a tent and survival gear to go camping up the hill about 4 miles from my house, elevated 1,200 feet. I set up my tent in this small field almost entirely surrounded by woods. I made my beans, went to sleep. I was woken up at 3 a.m. to the sound of what I thought was a wild animal approaching the tent. Not unusual. Woke up at sunrise, opened the tent, and found a parcel wrapped in white aged cloth, tied in straw string with a note on top, "Welcome, friend." Inside the parcel, get this, a calf leg/hoof. Never told a soul about it to this day. Scared the soul out of me. Never went camping again, and didn't stop thinking about it for months. My wife, but girlfriend at the time, and I were sleeping in one morning. Us in my bedroom, our son in his room. He was a little over 2 years old, still in a crib that we had set up. Not once has he ever gotten out of it. It was about 11 a.m. when I was woken up by the sound of a doorknob from my room, clanging. Like if you turn the knob all the way, then let go, the noise that it would make. I was like, the fuck? Maybe the boy climbed out of his crib, but then again, he wouldn't have been able to open his door to his room. I don't believe. I look over at my wife and asked if she heard it. She did. Clear as day. There was nobody else in the house but us three, our cat and our chinchilla. Both pets downstairs. We both get up and slowly start to clear the house. Bathrooms first, as it was in between the two bedrooms. Then my son's room. He was still sleeping through all of this. The little closet at the top of the stairs. Moved my way down the stairs. Searched the kitchen and the living room. Nothing. Nobody. The front door and back slider were both still locked. There was no way someone could have got through the front, then back, and relocked it without having a key. The back slider cannot be locked/unlocked from the outside at all. I asked the apartment manager if they or maintenance happened to come in that day. Nope. Asked my mom if she was in town that day and stopped it. Nope. Those are the only two people that have keys other than myself. To this day, it still freaks me the fuck out. Either someone had a set of keys from previously and decided to randomly stop by, or, I don't know, aliens or some shit. Freaks me out that I heard the sound of the doorknob, as did she. Were they watching us sleep and noticed I was waking up and then took off? If so, how did they get out? My room was directly above the front door. I could have heard someone opening and closing it. Big metal door. I can notice air pressure difference in houses as well. And the blinds in front of my back sliders were perfectly still. Haven't been disturbed in at least 3 to 5 minutes. It was a small 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. I searched it over another 2 to 3 times, really good to make sure I didn't miss something/someone. Also, nothing was taken or moved. It freaked us the fuck out for a few weeks after though. I bought some small door stopper looking things that make a loud alarm when pressed down. You put it under the door, it goes off when the door is open. I did it just in case. Never had it happen again for all I know. We lived in a house for a couple years now. I have multiple Wise cameras throughout the house in case some weird shit like that ever happens again. I thought I had a dream of riding my bike in Las Vegas when I was 5 or 6. In the dream, an old man walked up and cut my arm and knocked me off my bike, and I woke up at home. I had stitches on my arm, and my parents later told me I was riding my bike and crashed, but deep down I'm 100% sure that that man really had cut me and thrown me off my bike. I wasn't sure till I was 13 or 14 when my neighbor asked me if I remember the time when he found me bleeding next to my bike. Out of curiosity, I asked if he remembered if anyone was around, and he said there was an elderly man walking away from me about 20 yards ahead. To this day, I'm still scared of what would have happened if my neighbor hadn't seen me in the front. Former coworker of my brother put mercury into his milkshake when no one was looking to try to kill him. He was caught, but apparently there was no motive other than it was something he wanted to do. No animosity or jealousy towards my brother. My uncle, when he was in his teens, witnessed a UFO event. He was at the beach in the middle of the day when he saw an oval-shaped object about half a kilometer up in the sky. There were over 100 other people at the beach, and they all witnessed this, could see that the object was huge, big enough that if it had come down, it would have flattened the entire beach. Everyone watched it for about half an hour, and during that time, it didn't move one bit. Heaps of people were just standing or sitting around, watching it. My uncle said, and this is an almost direct quote, "You know how you sometimes feel like you just have to get out of a place? Like you have to take off running? Well, this was different. You felt the opposite. Like you had to stay. After half an hour, the object started moving very slowly, and then it just shot sideways extremely fast and disappeared. No plane or human-made flying object could have moved in that way, or looked like that, unless the government was/is developing technologies we know nothing of. A strong possibility. My first girlfriend's house was probably haunted. It was a newer house, built late 80s, early 90s, which used to be in the woods in Connecticut. This happened in 2001. We were having an after-school snack in her kitchen when she told me she had previously seen an old man with a large white beard sitting in her living room. I laughed it off since the house was so new and the property firmly being woods meant it couldn't possibly be haunted. A few weeks later, a similar situation with her in the kitchen and me returning from the bathroom. As I walk into the kitchen, I see a man in her dining room sitting at the head of the table. I don't see a beard. but it was an old man. Me trying to be as scientific about it, deny what I saw since my girlfriend gave me enough information my mind could be playing tricks on me. Fast forward a few months, the whole thing is basically forgotten, and we didn't have any other encounters. She had a friend visiting from Brazil. Her friend was downstairs next to the living room while my girlfriend and I were doing our thing upstairs. All of a sudden, her friend burst through the door crying. She asked in Portuguese what happened. She goes on to explain, I was downstairs tending to music with my headphones in when I turned the corner to go into the living room and basically ran into this old man with a long white beard. I know my girlfriend wouldn't have told her. We both didn't take it too serious. I know I didn't say anything since her friend barely spoke English. To this day, I still want to write the new owners of the house and ask if they encountered the white bearded man. Hey guys, so thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed the stories. Let me know what you thought of the stories down below. Also remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Well, have a great day. Bye.